people? I'm back. Today we're going to talk about the equation method, how to do this stuff with gratuities and taxes. I know up to this point we've been talking a lot about the proportion method, okay? So we've been doing that stuff where we've done, you know, change over original equals x over 100 and taking the percentage and put it over 100 a lot, okay? So we've done the proportion method. Today we're going to talk about the equation method. So if you feel comfortable with that, okay, now I'm going to teach you a new method. May speed things up a little bit. So make sure, if you will, if you've got your book handy, of course that'd be this one. It's got the marlin on the front of it. If you got the old marlin, bring him on out. And we're going to turn over to about page 70 and 1. All right, 70 and 1. You see the guy sitting here getting his hair cut. And we're going to talk about taxes and gratuity a little bit today, so here we go. We'll get back to that in just a little bit. Watch out, he's coming to get your money. Uncle Sam is. Alright, so if we are talking about the equation, in this first question over here, it says Jeremy is getting his hair cut. There's old Jeremy. Jeremy's getting his hair cut and he's going to give him a 15% tip, okay? So if the haircuts are $15, and he's giving them a 15% tip, okay? The way we've probably been doing it so far is we've been doing 15 times 0.15, so we're taking, of course, that percentage and we're changing it into that decimal right there. All right, and you do 15 times 0.15, 15, oh, come on now, that's 15 times the 0.15, of course, which is 1500ths. And that means you'd leave them a tip of $2.25. All right. Now, if it asks you how much you total, which is the next question now, total including tip, of course, you'd say, well, that's $15 plus $2.25. Okay. So if I was going to break it up into a little T chart, of course, this would be the tip. This would be the total. And then, of course, you do the $15 for the haircut plus the $2.25 tip that you're leaving. Okay, that would be $17.25. Now, another word, of course, you see I've got up here is gratuity. So I just want you to know that the word gratuity and the word tip mean exactly the same thing. We've been doing that a lot this year. Okay, so I know we've talked about slope and constant of proportionality and unit rate. They all mean the same thing. Okay. So again, we've got these words that mean the same thing that come up a couple different ways. So if you see the word gratuity in the problem, or if you see the word tip in the problem, okay, either one of those things, they're the same. Just like granny and nana and meemaw, all talking about grandma or your grandmother, right? So you can have more than one word that means the same thing. All right, now let's talk about the equation method for this. All right, so here's the new part. So hopefully you've watched it to this point and watched it about 3 minutes. So here we go. Now, if you want to skip some of this stuff, and this is the speedier method, okay? So 100% of something, if you change that to a decimal, or a fraction, I mean, that would be 100 over 100. And what is 100 divided by 100? Well, I hope you would say 1, okay? So 100% actually would change to this, okay, 1.00. If I'm going to leave a 15% tip, okay, all right, that would be 15 over 100. Of course, you would say that as 1500ths, and you would write it like that, okay? So the haircut is 100% of the cost. The tip, or the gratuity, is 15% of the cost. If you add those together, of course, you'll see that would be 1.15. Okay, otherwise that would be 115% of the cost. Okay, the haircut is 100. I'll go back and kind of lay these things out. The haircut's 100%. The tip is 15%. So if you add those two together, that's 115%. And then that would be 1 as a decimal and 1500ths as a decimal. So here is the speedy way to do it. Okay, so just take $15, which is the price of the haircut, and then multiply that by 1.15, and that'll give you your total. So let's do that. Ready? 15 is the price of the haircut times 1.15. Okay, that's the price of the haircut plus the tip. Okay, 1.15, and you can see that gives you $17.25. Okay, again, that's the haircut, that's the tip, all together 1.15, so that's where I'm getting that. Okay, so 100% is 1, the extra 15% is the 0.15, so if you just take that $15 times 1.15, you got 17.25. So the equation, of course, would be something like this: y equals 1.15x. Going back to stuff we talked about earlier when we were writing our little equations. Y equals 1.15x. All right. Now, if we go down to the next one, Jeremy's doing something else with his hair. It says Jeremy's getting some hair care product, okay, getting him some gel or shampoo or something, and that's 13 bucks. And then the sales tax rate in his city is 7%, okay. So we're going to show how much tax he's going to get and the total cost and everything. So if we do that, let's do that problem number 2, okay. We would say, all right, well, his product, whatever he's getting, is $13, okay, and the sales tax rate is 7%. So again, this would be your 100% number. This would be your 0.7, you know, your 7 over 100. This would be your 100 over 100. So if you add those up, of course, that would be 107 over 100, which is going to end up being 1.07. Okay, 100% for the haircut, you got to pay the $13. 7% for the tax would be 0.07. So if you add those up, that's going to be 1.07. All right, so you just got to take the 13 times the 1.07, and that'll give you the total including the tax. All right, so let's see how that works. Ready? So $13 for the hair care stuff, 13 times, now the 1 is standing for the hair care stuff, and the 0.07, okay, is standing for the tax. And so altogether with tax, that's $13.91, baby. $13.91. That includes everything, okay? The hair care products and the tax. Now, if you just really want to know what the tax is, of course, you can go back and do it the old method like we did up here, and you could just do 13 times 0.07, and you can see, of course, that the tax is 91 cents. So if it asks you just for the tax, you want to do it this way, okay, where you multiply it by 0.07. If it's asking for the total, now you can do it this new way, where you just put a 1 in front of it, and that'll automatically give you the price plus tax. Okay, so the equation we would write for this one would be y equals 1.07x. That look familiar? Kind of looks like that one, right? All right, good deal. Now, let's keep on going, see what else we can come up with. So remember, the summary of the part we got so far, gratuity and tip mean the same thing, same word. Okay, tip and gratuity mean the same word. Well, let's keep on coming over here. Let's see about Kelsey and Jamal. Now we're on over to page 72. Okay, page 72 if you got the Marlin book. Okay, Kelsey and Jamal went to lunch on Saturday. Their lunch cost $17.60. Then they gave the waiter a 15% gratuity on the amount before tax, and they were charged a 5% tax rate on the amount before gratuity. So what was the total cost of the lunch? Okay, so again, we're going to try to use our equations here. I'd rather you say it y equals mx instead of y equals kx. I'd rather you say m there. All right, so it says the first thing we're going to do is find the gratuity on their bill. Okay, so the gratuity again 15%. All right, so this is actually number 3 for us. Okay. All right, so their lunch bill was $17.60. Their gratuity that they're leaving the waiter, okay, remember gratuity and tip mean the same thing. Gratuity, tip, same thing. They're leaving 15%, and it says this is before the tax, okay? So what decimal would you write for 15%? 0.15. Again, this over here is going to be the 100% part, so that of course is going to be the 1, because 100 over 100 equals 1, right? All right, so if you add those together, of course that's 1.15. So take 1760 times 1.15, and that'll tell you the amount. Of course, the 1 is going to give you the amount of the food for lunch, and then the 0.15 is going to give you the gratuity. So you can just go ahead and multiply it all together. 1760 times 1.15, and that means for the lunch plus the gratuity, they're going to leave $20.24. Okay. If you just wanted to know just the gratuity, okay, just how much tip they're going to leave, then you would do 1760 times the 0.15. So let's just find out, just for fun, let's break it down. Okay, so tip wise, if you do 1760 times 0.15, that means tip wise they're going to leave the waiter, or waiter, let's say waiter, yeah, $2.64. Okay, that's how much tip they're going to leave. Okay, now it says they also are going to, of course, leave, got to pay the tax. So the tax is 5%, okay? So we'll just make a little line here. So tax is 5%, okay? So if you wanted to know what the bill was just with the tax, again, you do 1760 times 1.05. All right, so 1760 times 1.05 would be 1848. All right, so let's just find the tax alone over here by itself. Okay, so now we're going to do the tax and find out what it is just by itself. 1760 times 0.05. 1760 times 0.05. Okay, so that means they're paying 88 cents in tax. Okay, so all together, here's what they'd be paying. They'd be paying 1760 for the lunch food. Let me slide that down just a hair. Okay, so that's lunch. Plus, they've got to pay tax of 264. I'm sorry, tip of 264. Gratuity is tip up here. Tax of 88 cents. Okay, so if we add all that up, the 1760, I'll put it on there so hopefully you can see all that. The 1760 for the lunch food, the 264 for the tip, the 88 cents for the, oh gosh, that was wrong. Try it again. 1760 for the food, the 264 for the tip, the 88 cents for the tax. 2112 is what we're talking about all together. 2112. 2112 total. So that's lunch, tip, and tax. All right, so let's see if this will work. If I add the 5% and the 15% together, that of course would be 20%. So I'm just doing this on the fly just to see if this would work. So if I add the 5 and the 15, that would give me 20. So if I did 1760 times 0.20 might be your question. So if I do 1760 times 1.20, is that going to work? Can I get $21.12 if I do it that way, just by adding the, the tip and the tax together? Because 15% plus 5% is 20%. So is that going to work? So let's test it out and see. 1760 times 1 for the food, 0.20 for the tip and the tax, and that gives me 2112. So there you go. That does work. Okay, so you can really speed that question up, okay, by putting those two together. The 5% plus the 15% gives you the 20% right there. So that did give me 2112. I'll be darned. That does work. All right. All right. Now, last one. No, I believe that will be the last one. I may come back and do some more with you if we feel like we need to on the next day, but that ought to get you going in the right direction. So Again, you can change these to equations. So for this one, of course, that would be y equals 1.20x for this one. Y equals 1.20x. All right, so if you've watched it all the way to here, you've made it 15 minutes, so thank you very much. So the last riddle was, what word has the most letters in it? And much people are sending me all kinds of stuff. The answer to that riddle was mailbox. The word that has the most letters in it, mailbox. You know, that's where you put the letters in the mailbox. All right, so today's riddle is, what type of bell never rings? What type of bell never rings? All right, so in summary, last little bit here, okay? Oh yeah, don't forget, you want to email me that answer if you know, right? Email me that, okay? So remember, tip and gratuity mean the same thing. Going to speed up the method here, okay? Put these together, so it would be 1.15 for the 15% tip, 1.15 we got there. Equations y equals 115x. Down here you got 7% tax. You can just change that to 1.07 if you want to speed it up and not, you know, skip a few steps. So y equals 1.07x would be the equation for that. Down here we learned, hey, we can put these two things together. 15 and 5 would be 0.20. So down here, 1760 times 1.20 still give us the same answer as doing all those steps. Okay, so the equation there would be 1.20x, y equals 1.20x. Peace out, baby. Okay, got some questions coming up. Hope you know what you're doing. If you need me, email me, let me know. All right, ciao for now.